Hello, I'm MPX, and welcome back to the video. Today we're talking about Minecraft Bedrock Edition. This is the most popular version of Minecraft by quite a long way, and because of this, a lot of people are switching over from the Java version to the Windows 10 version, or from the console versions to the Bedrock on the consoles. And because of this, immediately when you switch over, you'll notice the game feels different, you'll notice the game has a lot of distinct differences in gameplay, but also the game looks quite different, and it's really hard to pin down exactly why this is. It's something that until this video, I still wasn't entirely sure of, but I figured I would let you know exactly what they are, because there's lots of tiny differences that are used to increase performance, and are just used to make the game, again, feel very, very different. And to give you a good example of what I mean by this, for instance, when you open a chest, you can see how your render distance cuts down. There's a bunch of examples of things like this, and I want to talk about all of them in today's video, so hopefully you all do enjoy it. Please do like this if you do like it, because it helps out the channel a lot, and let us know you do enjoy this sort of video, and want to keep on seeing this sort of stuff. But let's get straight into it, shall we? And let's start by talking about the very strange things Minecraft Bedrock renders, because it's not just chests that will lower your render distance, again, by a significant portion, about half. As you can see, I can see all the ways that we'll have mentioned before, and now I can only see to about that like ice palace in front of me. So yeah, literally half your render distance, or about a third of it, and this will also work for anything that has a menu interface. So even pressing the start button, for instance, as you can see, cuts down your render distance by about the same amount. It's pretty crazy that all these things do this, but it's one of the ways that I guess the game prioritizes what you're doing in the foreground rather than the background. But also, for instance, the game also has a rather interesting way of rendering the world when you get to the height limit. So again, this is my creative world that I've transferred from Minecraft Xbox One to Bedrock. Just keep that in mind as we go through it, because as you can see, if we go to the very top of the world, the way that the fog generates is very, very different to both the PC, where there's essentially no fog, and to the console edition, where the fog is just based on distance to the ground. So you can barely see anything on the consoles, but you can see it in a fairly square pattern. But the way fog generates on the Bedrock is based in a circular pattern, which means if we look down right here, you can see how there's that layer of it's almost like we're looking through the clouds, but you can see it's very distinctly not clouds, and it goes in a perfect circle around me. So you can see, literally, there's like a certain number of chunks that can generate. If we go this way a little bit, you can see some chunks come in and out. And yeah, it's just a really interesting fact that the fog in Minecraft Bedrock generates in very specific places, and it always generates in a circle. In fact, your render distance as a whole, if you look at it right now, so I've got it turned on to the max that the Xbox One S will allow at the very least. So that is 22 chunks in case you're curious. So I can see 22 chunks in that direction, and I can see 22 chunks in that direction, but I can't see 22 chunks diagonally, because as you can see, if we look around me right now, you can see how it makes a very distinct circle of render distance. So this means that although your render distance might be higher on Minecraft Bedrock, in some situations it's essentially lower, because although it is 22 chunks still, we can't see the corner over there, we can't see the corner over there, and we can't see the corner over there. It's based on the diagonal of the game, whereas Minecraft on the console edition at the very least, and I believe the Java edition did this, or still does this until the most recent version, will do it based on what you're looking at. That's where the minimum distance is, and you can see the best diagonally from where you always are. So if I wanted to see over there, for instance, I'd look at it diagonally, but no, the way it works on this is based on your world. The cardinal directions, so north, east, south, west, are the ones you can see the most of, and honestly, it adds a really nice effect to the game. It's not something many people can appreciate, but hopefully now you can too. So the next effect here is clouds. This is the most annoying thing on Minecraft PC, of course. This is the single reason most people turn off clouds, because you go up to cloud height once. It's not even, clouds are only like 2 blocks high, but you go into cloud height, you go through them, and suddenly you can't see anything. Except on this version, clouds only exist when you're not inside them. If you go into a cloud, as you can see, there's no way of telling it, and honestly, this is a much better system. The idea of physically being inside clouds, so let me give you a good example of this by physically building into a cloud. The idea that clouds, so I guess there's no except that saying, but let's just have a big cut pole here going right into a cloud. You'll see how there's this rather interesting thing where on other versions you'd be stuck in the hole, and you'd be like, what is going on with that? But as you can see, like this, the block can be built in there, and it won't affect your vision at all. From above it, you can see less of the ground, but again, it's kind of like fog. You can still distinctly see everything through there, and honestly, that's one of the best changes I think they made. The Bedrock team make a lot of different decisions on the game, and some of them are absolute winners, like not being able to see through the clouds. So if you don't have clouds turned on and you're playing Minecraft Bedrock, you're making a mistake, because I think they add a tiny bit of ambience to the world. They're always being improved, of course, and they don't actually take anything away like they do on the console edition and like they do on the Java edition. So let's move on to the next little weird thing here, which is to do, I guess, with the way that I guess your crosshair works, because as you can see, your crosshair is larger on this version of the game than it is in others. It's very slightly larger, so little so that you probably don't notice immediately, but it is in fact larger, and it also is it changes based on what you're looking at. So right now, looking at most of the world, it is meant to be like this grey default. Like when you look at green, it goes to grey. However, if we look at a black color, it goes to white because it tries to invert the color of what's behind it. Except every now and then, it does this in a really, really weird way. So when looking at certain entities, I know the end crystal example, the inversion causes some very, very strange things to happen. And because of this, you can actually see like other players' names through this. You can see there's a lot of rendering issues with this, for instance. And basically, if you ever look at an entity, especially one as crazy as the end crystal, you can often see stuff through it that you're really not meant to. Because again, the way the game is rendering is it like covers the things behind it, but it doesn't cover players behind it. And you get a lot of weird advantages by doing stuff like that. So yeah, the Crosshair works distinctly different on this game. It's larger and it has rendering issues where you can't necessarily see things through it. So let's talk about the next one here, which is to do with rain, and it's to do with, I guess, anything like that. So we're going to type in the weather, and then we're going to go into rainy, because this is how you do things on this version. So we're going to type /weather and then rain, and that's going to make it rain. So as you're going to spot, my render distance is immediately being cut down. It's like I'm in a chest, for instance, like slowly but surely, you can see my entire render distance is going cut down quite a bit. And although this is something you see a tiny bit of in the other versions, it's way, way more severe here. You can see it's still going down until we can see something like 5 chunks in each direction. And although this is based very loosely off your settings, so for instance, you can see it's over there right now, but if I take my video settings down, it essentially eliminates the power off your system. So we go to the very minimum 6 chunks. You can see how we just can't see anything. And it's a very interesting thing that it scales like that, because it means that if you're in the rain, for instance, even if let's say you're on a console or you're on a device that can only run at 6 chunks, it's a very weak device, it's still worth turning it up for rain, some amount, because 6 chunks in rain is essentially like 1 chunk. So whenever it rains in Minecraft, you have to like turn that up. It's a really weird thing. I'm not necessarily on board with it. And the same thing happens, fun fact, in the Nether. So you can see how this is about 6 chunks of render distance by just turning on 22 chunks. So all you have to do is like follow the weather and you'll be about fine. But also if we go to the Nether, for instance, you'll see how it also applies there. So we go to the Nether. As you can see, it's distinctly not raining here, but we can still see a massively reduced render distance. It's not quite the same as rain, but it is still quite reduced. And although this also applies to the other versions, it applies in an entirely different way on this version. So yeah, there's a fun fact you might not have known about this one. And yeah, I guess my kind of point here, also by the way, just I thought this is one I haven't experimented with, but if we open up a dispenser, you can see how the render distance cuts down even further, like rain plus opening something else, like it removes stuff from the vision. And you can do some really weird stuff with this if you want to make stuff just magically appear. Because also the clouds, they seem to vanish at a certain distance too. It's very, very weird stuff. But yeah, the final point I just wanted to raise here is being able to see stained glass through stained glass through stained glass works on much better levels on this version, because the rendering engine is different, than it does on other versions. And in case you're curious as to what I mean by that, for instance, if we grab ourselves a bunch of colors of stained glass. So let's just say we get ourselves some pink, some purple, some light blue, and then some green, and then you do a pattern like this. So again, stained glass on Minecraft Java is one of the big issues they had, where seeing even stained glass through stained glass was almost impossible. But one of the things you can do on this version is you can see stained glass through stained glass through stained glass on as many layers as you humanly can have. So for instance, through this pink stained glass, I can see the purple, I can see the green, and I can see the blue. The green looks a bit more pinky than it would normally, the purple looks a bit more pinky, and the blue looks a bit more bluey and purpley, so you can see it looks different through the purple alone and through the blue alone. But yeah, it's quite impressive that the color, the colors do work like this. You can have so many different variations of this, and yeah, basically the rendering engine works much better with stained glass because it is based in C# rather than in Java, which is apparently a better language to get this stuff done. The rendering engine works much better, and my point of this video was that Minecraft Bedrock works in very different, distinct ways, and a lot of the the kind of performance drawbacks are because of the fact that this was designed to run on phones. Minecraft Bedrock is the Minecraft Pocket Edition codebase. However, they do have the most developers of any platform. They've recently confirmed they have 70 Minecraft developers just working on this version of the game. So every single one of these weird issues was intentional, and it is a key way to get more performance. That is why, in case you're curious, Minecraft Xbox One can have 22 chunks render distance versus the 18 on Minecraft Xbox One Edition. It's because there is some sacrifices that are made, and also because they often will cut that down for rain or for the Nether or for when you're opening a chest or the enchantment table. Literally anything. There's always. Oh wait, what did I just do? How did that? What just happened there? I'm not sure what happened. But anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. Like it if you did like it, share if you really liked it, subscribe if you're new around here, and let me know what you think about these sorts of videos in the comments down below, because I guess I'll see you all in the next one. I'm considering doing a video on Java Edition exclusive features, so do you want to know what's exclusive to just the Java? Or maybe you don't. I don't know. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.